last month, I was heading to a Costco that's pretty far away from me, about an hour and 40 minutes for a pickup order. Wasn't going in. And there was a gentleman, I think he was about 26, 27, and he was outside of the Exxon gas station, and he was very clean cut, looked really nice. I mean, this was a good looking guy. Not that it matters, but I'm saying he didn't look dirty or anything. And he had a sign, he said, I, need to get here, where I'm from. So I looked at him, and then I thought about it, and I said, well, I mean, he doesn't look too bad. And I don't know what I was thinking, I know, with the mask and stuff, but, so I went over there and I started talking to the gentleman, and he was telling me that his car got impounded by the cops. He didn't have proof of registration, all this stuff, and he was just trying to get to, the city where I'm from. And so I said, well, I'm going that way. I said, I had just come back from Costco. I had an order, a pickup. That's the reason I was out here. He said, I said, well, you really lucked out. I said, well, I'll be willing to give you, a ride and everything. And he, he was really nice, and he was talking about he didn't have his ID and stuff. All he had on him was a bag. It was like a man purse, like one of those, like a Coach, man bag. And he was dressed real nice. And so he told me, he said his phone and all that was in the car, and they, impounded the vehicle. So I let him in the car and told him I would take him. I know this is insane, but the guy, he was really good looking, y'all. And he was a good looking guy, and he was really nice. So anyway, so we're driving and we're just chit-chatting, and I'm asking him, things about his life and what he does for work and stuff. And he was talking about, because of the virus, he's been working home a lot, and everything's been a lot, very stressful. And he purchased a new car. He didn't put any of the stuff in the vehicle because he wasn't actually able to get a tag for the car yet because the courthouse was closed and stuff. And so, oh my God, Carter, no honey. And so, he was telling me all this, and I felt so bad for him. And he didn't ask me for any money or anything. He's just trying to get to the, to the city. And so anyways, so we're driving, well, I'm driving and we're talking and stuff. And so y'all know I'm very nosy. I am a very nosy woman, and you know how I am. Y'all know how I am. So I kept looking at the Coach bag, and I like purses, and I like Coach. Coach is a good, pretty good brand. Now they've sort of lowered the quality because they're trying to get into cheaper markets, so they're sort of hurting their brand name, but I still like Coach bags. So I said, well, honey, I hope it, this doesn't, offend you or anything. I said, what's in your bag? And he looked at me, and he said, none of your business. And y'all, when he said that, what? Because we were just having normal conversations. He was telling me what he did for work and everything. And we were just talking like normal. And when I asked it, the way he said it was like a whole nother person came out. So I started like, I don't never say anything out loud. Like, I'm a very nice person. So I started going through my mind, and I was like, this is weird. You got to figure out a way to get out of this. So I'm like, well, I could text my good Judy and have her call me and be like, oh, there's an emergency or something. And, I'm going through, because I'm OCD about stuff, my mind and anxiety. So I'm trying to figure out some way to get out of the situation. So I said, well, it's a little awkward. 10 minutes had passed and it's awkward. And so I don't know what to do. So we're about to pass the gas station coming up, because on the interstate, how it tells you what's coming up. So I said, well, there was a Shell station. So I decided to get off on the Shell station, and I was like, well, I'm going to go in. Maybe he'll go in or have to go to the bathroom, and I'll just leave him. I know, y'all, don't judge me. This is horrible for me saying this or thinking this, but it was just weird. It was weird. So anyway, so we stopped. I told him I had to go in, and I was getting me a drink and all that. So I go in, he doesn't get out of the car, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I call Natalie on the phone, and she's like, why did you pick up somebody? And I said, oh my God, I felt so bad, so much is going on and stuff. And she's like, we got a virus going on, you're picking up somebody, Debra. And I'm like, honey, he's a good looking guy. And she's like, are you insane? I'm like, well, I'm not saying that's a reason to pick up somebody. And he was like, yeah, there's no reason for that. So anyways, so I go in there and get me a drink, and then I get me some crackers, and then I start feeling bad because I'm like, well, this guy doesn't have, a wallet or anything because he left it in his car. So I bought him some crackers because he wasn't getting out of the car anyway. So when I came back, I figured, well, maybe this will just ease it until we get to the city that I'm from. I'll drop him off, and this will be done. Because, you can't just leave somebody like that, right, stranded. So I give him the crackers. That seems to work. He was very thankful for that. And I didn't buy him a drink. I don't know why. Listen, my mind, so he probably had cotton mouth because of the crackers. So we start back talking again. Everything's back to normal. So we're almost to like the city where I'm from. And I'm thinking, well, where do I need to drop off at? I'm really not sure. And so while we're thinking that, I said, well, I'm going to ask him one more time. Because at this time, we've been in the car for almost an hour and 20-something minutes. And I'm like, well, I'm curious again. So I asked him, I said, look, I know earlier you got a little upset with me. I don't hate to be, prying or anything. I said, but I'm very nosy because I said, you left all your stuff in your other car. I said, what's in your bag, hon? And he looks at me and says, none of your business. Y'all, I was like, what in the world? This didn't make any freaking sense at this point. He was like, we were talking and all that, and he just sat there and said that to me. So at this point, I'm like, honey, I'm done. I put on my blinkers. I pull up to like a truck stop area. You know how they have them right before you go into the big cities? I don't want to say, but you know what I'm saying. And so I pull up to the thing, and he's like, what are you doing? I said, look, you got to get out. I said, I'm not dealing with this. I don't know what your problem is. I said, I thought we were cool. I was just asking you questions. I said, you need to get out now. So he got out. I was red-faced because I was so, like, like sometimes you'll be embarrassed for doing something that's obviously right. So he got out of the vehicle, y'all. And that was the end of that. I don't know what, he got out. I left and got home. So the next day, I went to get in the car, and I was running some more errands. I think I had a Walmart order or something like that. And I looked to the right, and when he got out of the car, he left his bag in the car. The bag was still in the car. So at this time, I'm like, oh my God, the bag, he left his bag. And I'm like, oh my God, is he still going to be at the truck stop soon? So I get back on the interstate, drive down to another exit below me just so I can turn around to get back on the other side of the interstate just to see if I could get, to the truck stop to see if he's still there, because I have no way to reach this guy. So I pull up and go around, and y'all, he's nowhere inside. Nowhere inside, y'all. I don't see him there. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. This bag's in my car, and I don't know. I was really shocked because, so there's his bag's in the car, and, he's nowhere to be seen. Mr. Tim says classic murderer trick, leave the bag in the car. Well, you know why? I think he left the bag because, when I pulled up, I was like, oh, you got to get out. You just got to get out. Is this Justin? No, this isn't Justin. No, Justin wouldn't leave his bag in the car. You know what? Why doesn't Justin have a bag? Oh, everybody's asking me what was in the bag. Kim says, what was in the bag? Sherry says, so did you look in the bag? Kim, you're asking me what was in the bag, hon? None of your business, Kim. And remember, share, like, and subscribe.